What is happening, baby? Welcome back to the Huddle Chat Sports Network's very own fantasy football huddle. Presented as always by DanklyfeBrand and yours truly, Dallas Clark. Today, we're going to be talking about those sleeper picks that you need to wake your ass up on. Don't let these pass you in those late rounds of the draft. They will definitely help out your bench strength immensely. Before we get started in the episode today, I want to make sure I answer the trivia question I posed to you guys in the last episode on the overpriced running backs video. The question was three running backs were able to eclipse 500 rushing yards and 500 receiving yards last year. The easy one running back was Christian McCaffrey. What were the other two running backs? The answer might surprise you. It's Breece Hall from the New York Jets and Rachaad White from the Tampa Bay Buccaneers. We're going to be asking a lot more trivia questions when it comes out on social media. So make sure you're following us at the Huddle Chat. You can see it right here at the top of the screen, at the Huddle Chat on Facebook, at the Huddle Chat on Twitter, now known as X, whatever you want to call it. But that's going to be how you reach us and check out those social media questions. And make sure if you've gotten this far to subscribe to the channel. Make sure that you hit that notifications bell as well so that you get aware of all the new content coming out. But I'm wasting your time. Let me stop doing that. Let's get all the housekeeping things out of the way. And everybody, fill up your cup, roll something up, and let's get right into the very first sleeper. And now I know I might sound like a homer here, but my first sleeper, and these are going to go in order. All players are outside of the top 140 players ADP. So these are people that are going extremely late in drafts if they're going at all. My first sleeper is going to be Josh Downs from the Indianapolis Colts. He burst onto the scene last year, and Indianapolis Colts fans absolutely love this young man. He did have a week 9 knee injury that, of course, stifled his production for a lot of the season. He was wide receiver 36 in fantasy points per game last year and had a 19% target share in this offense before the week 9 injury. You also have Anthony Richardson back in the lineup, and Anthony Richardson was peppering Josh Downs when he was in there. He did have to create more of a chemistry with Gardner Minshew, but we saw that come through later in the seasons. So I definitely think Josh Downs is somebody that you need to be taking a look at. Something that I want to take a look at really quick was a comment on my last video, the same video we asked the trivia question on. It's from Dylan O'Shea, 1864. He asked a phenomenal question. Who do you think is more undervalued from a Jags perspective, Christian Kirk or Brian Thomas Jr.? He's very high on Evan Ingram and thinks he'll finish top 7 for tight ends, worst case. I definitely don't have, I think I have actually Evan Ingram at 7 at tight end right now. So I definitely can agree with you with that statement, especially with how kind of empty tight end feels as opposed to what we felt over these last couple of years. But to answer your question as simply as I can, Christian Kirk, I think his best years were when Christian Kirk wasn't the number 1 wide receiver. Right now, without Calvin Ridley, Christian Kirk is the number 1 wide receiver, and there's a lot of questions on the Jaguars, not because anything has really changed, but really because nothing has changed. You're looking at not really much cause to feel improvement from the Jacksonville Jaguars just because there wasn't an improving offseason. Are they trusting the process? Maybe that's what's going on. And a lot of experts and people like myself are going to be eating crow when it comes to the end of the year. But as far as undervalued and who is the more undervalued, I would have to tend to lean Brian Thomas Jr. You're looking at Christian Kirk getting drafted right now, ADP in standard overall 66 as wide receiver 31. So you're looking at that, and in PPR it's a little bit better. Overall 41, wide receiver 28 at the current moment. So he's getting drafted just outside of the top 24 wide receivers. He's in a prove-it position, which is exactly where I think he should be. He could be a little bit higher up and slide into the top 24, but he'd be so low in the top 24 it would feel disrespectful to him and to anybody that feels he should be higher. But Brian Thomas Jr. right now, when you're looking at his ADP, he's going at ADP of 112 as wide receiver 48. So you're looking at Brian Thomas barely even getting drafted and not with much hopes. I think Brian Thomas being in the Christian Kirk role benefits Brian Thomas. I think with Evan Ingram and the other good pass catchers around Brian Thomas, it's a great area for him to develop. Brian Thomas Jr., actually from the Jacksonville Jaguars, did not make the sleeper list today, but he can definitely be an honorable mention. I think that he's going to be somebody that we're going to be talking about a lot I can't tell you how early in the season, but I think Brian Thomas Jr. is definitely going to be one of those waiver wire saviors, one of the Buck Allens, Javarius Allens of 2024. So to answer your question, Brian Thomas Jr. is the more undervalued wide receiver for the Jacksonville Jaguars. Continuing to talk about undervalued players that the experts and everyone are sleeping on. Moving on to the next one, we're talking about Demario Douglas from the New England Patriots. He boasted a 20.8% target share in the 8 games when he played 50% or more of snaps, which led the team. And right now you're looking at who's going to be the number one wide receiver of the New England Patriots. Demario Douglas, when he had 50% or more of the snaps, had the leading target share in the team at 20.8% and had the first read target share leading the team as well, meaning he was the first look from the quarterback on 24.4% of dropbacks. So Demario Douglas definitely is the person I'm keeping my eye on when it comes to the New England Patriots wide receiver room. You're also looking at him being tied for second place in red zone targets last year on the team. So you're looking at, like I said, no idea who's going to be wide receiver 1 for the Pats, but I think Demario Douglas has put up a case, even though it's a smaller sample size than we would appreciate to see. I think Demario Douglas is definitely going to be the one to look out for. I want to ask you guys at this point to make sure, if you haven't yet, like the content, and like I said earlier, make sure you smash that subscriptions bar and that notification bell if you haven't yet. We're trying to get up to 250 subscribers on the new YouTube channel, so make sure you do that for us. And we're going to be getting into our very last wide receiver that is being slept on right now. It's going to be Josh Palmer from the Chargers. The upside this season for Josh Palmer is absolutely unreal. You're looking at him having a 19% target share and a 31% air yard target share without Mike Williams on the roster. Not only is Mike Williams on the roster, neither is Keenan Allen. Josh Palmer very easily can take over as the number 1 wide receiver for the Los Angeles Chargers. In those same 7 games without Mike Williams last season, he had 71.1 yards per game and would have been in the top 20 wide receivers through that span in a PPR standpoint. Josh Palmer, like I said, the upside is unreal, so make sure you take the chance on JP over at LAC at the end of your draft. That's going to do it for the THC Sports Network's Fantasy Football Huddle Sleeper Wide Receivers. And then we're going to be talking about some more sleepers in the next video. We're going to be talking about overpriced and undervalued wide receivers and quarterbacks as well. And then I got the rookie playbook coming right around the corner. As always, keep your chin up and your attitude down. I'll see y'all next time. Peace out.